Hi, my name is Angela DeSazio and I'm 22 years old. I'm a senior at Marymount Manhattan College in the dance department. A typical day will normally consist of getting here at 10 o'clock for jazz, running all the way to 63rd Street for ballet class, running all the way back within 10 minutes for improv and composition, followed by rehearsals until 7, and then maybe a night class. At 3 months old, I was diagnosed with a disease called cystic fibrosis, which is a genetic disorder that affects the lungs and pancreas of about 30,000 children and adults in the United States alone. Most of my peers will just wake up a half hour before school, get ready, eat breakfast, and come to dance. But with CF, there's a lot of work that goes into keeping myself healthy. This includes at least an hour of treatment every day, which means that I need to wake up at least 2 hours before school to do a half hour of something called a vest, which I strap on. It shakes up all of my insides and helps me cough up all of my mucus. Also, while I do that, I do something called a nebulizer. I do 2 in the morning and 2 at night. One is a saline solution that helps to break up the mucus, and another is a pulmozyme that helps to open up the airways. That way I can have enough airway clearance to do whatever I do at school. Besides the nebulizers and vest, I also take a lot of pills a day. These include chronic antibiotics that I'm on all the time. If I happen to be sick, then I get prescribed more antibiotics or even steroids if it's too bad. Inhalers, nose sprays for my sinus problems. So cystic fibrosis is classified as an invisible disease, which means that I look fully functioning, but on the inside a lot of things are going on. My friends in college or most of my peers, when I first meet them, I don't tell them that I have CF, so they think that I'm completely normal until I end up in the hospital or sick, and everyone's like, where is she? And then they find out that I do have an invisible disease. The hardest part about having an invisible disease is not knowing how to approach telling people, especially, we're at the age where, we are dating, we're all meeting new people, and it's hard to tell someone that you have a chronic disease without knowing how they're going to react to it. Sometimes a lot of people will say to me, well, you don't look sick, you don't seem sick, but there's a lot more going on than what meets the eye. Before college, when I was closer to my hospital, I used to go for a visit once every 2 to 3 months. Since being in college, I go whenever I have a break, so Christmas break, spring break, or if I happen to get really sick and I have to go in for a tune-up, we call it, which has happened. I have been hospitalized in college 3 times. 2 out of those 3 times I've gotten what's called a PICC line, which is a long-term IV, and I've had to come back to school, administer all of my medication by myself through my PICC line while still dancing, still coming to all of my classes. I haven't missed anything while having a PICC line. So exercising is something that's extremely important for someone with CF. The constant physical activity will help break up a lot of the mucus in the chest, which is why dancing is so great for me. I'm so lucky to come to a school and study something that's helping to keep me healthy every day. A common exercise that someone with CF will have their peers do to understand how they're feeling is to have them breathe through their mouth into a straw while holding their nose. And we'll typically have them do it for 1 minute. And this will help them to understand the lung capacity that we have. So as a dancer with cystic fibrosis, my lung capacity is much less than my peers. So I had my improvisation class breathing through a straw while improvising to get a feel about how I feel while I'm dancing.
Oh.
Is it hard? Having an invisible illness is hard to deal with, but having a support system of friends and family makes all the difference. My peers here have been nothing but supportive. When I've been in the hospital, I constantly get text messages, video calls. My best friend came to visit me. We made a music video. They always try to keep me entertained, and they always are here to remind me that I'm not in it alone. And